Well, hiya, BookTube. Bill Ruttenberg here with the Ruttenberg Library. Wanted to come to you this morning with my Friday reads. Wanted to tell you about how life is going, what this last week has had for me, and just tell you about my book reading. And so the story of the week has been snow. I never saw the official count, but it had to be, I think, 12 inches. And it might have been a little bit more, might have been, some people are saying less, but I find it hard to believe. It was a lot of shoveling, needless to say. I know that as I was working, I probably shoveled at least three times on Monday. I think the snow rolled in on Monday, and I shoveled about 3 times, and each time was probably, I'm guessing 5 to 6 inches the first 2 times, and then a couple inches the last time is what my guesses were. But I'm thinking altogether probably about 12 inches of snow. And of course that disrupted school this week, and we went remote. We had a snow day on Monday, but we have remote days that are built in where when we go for a snow day, we can actually, traditionally we just wouldn't have school. But now that we've been doing all the remote learning, we can just turn it into a remote day. And the kids are kind of aware of this, and so they take their stuff home and they're ready for situations like that. And so we went remote on Monday, but then Tuesday was just a regular snow day, so we just lost President's Day. We were going to have President's Day off, but we lose that because of the snow day. And then Wednesday we had a late start because there was so much snow, and then some more snow came in on Wednesday. And so it's just been snow after snow after snow, and then it sounds like tomorrow is supposed to bring in a whole bunch more snow. And they were calling for thunder snow, which is usually a pretty heavy amount in a pretty quick time, and it's usually rough when you're having to shovel that. So yay, yeah. Anyway, but snow always disrupts the school week. I always like to get the full weekend so that you can get kind of a rhythm going in school. Anytime you're missing days, it gets choppy, and then the kids' learning is just not. It's, in my opinion, not as good as if you were going straight through and getting a schedule going. And but that's just that's the luck of the draw. That's just how it is. And so we've been, I feel like, spinning our wheels trying to finish up the American Revolution. I should have been done already with my 8th grade group, but we're kind of spinning our wheels because we've just been missing some days, and just things have been just a little bit goofy. My 7th grade's trying to wrap up the World War II unit, and that should have been probably done already. A lot of this is I'm making up ground from last year as I'm going, and so I'm going a little bit slower pace with a few things, just because I'm trying to make up from the school that we missed last spring. And so right now we're hitting the Holocaust in World War II with that 7th grade group, and we're listening to a really good not biography. We're listening to a really good documentary from, and I don't even know if it's a documentary. It's more of an interview with a Holocaust survivor, Kitty Hartmoxen, who survived Auschwitz. And I think the kids' eyes were open to a lot of stuff yesterday as we were going through it. We've been doing some readings building up on what Hitler and the Nazis were doing during the 1930s to set the stage for the Holocaust. And so now they're seeing the evilness of the Holocaust. And then, of course, hopefully by next week we'll be wrapped up with this. And so my 6th grade is going to be testing on Monday on their geography of North America, and so we're going to be moving right along in there, and we'll get into some North American history, and then the 4th quarter of school will be Latin America. And so we're just kind of chugging along, and so school's going well. But really, what I wanted to highlight in this video is my reading life. My reading life was really good this week. Of course, it seems like it's always really good at the end of the month, because it seems like you start wrapping books up at the end of the month, and that's what happened for me. I had made some videos this last week. Well, maybe I should mention that first. That was another thing with with the weekend and then all the snow days and everything. We were at home for a lot longer, and so my video making was very productive this last week. So if you've seen, like videos every day, that usually doesn't happen with me. I might get a couple in a row, but I usually don't get like 5, 6, 7 of them in a row. I'm gonna get that this week because I had time to do it, and so I finished up 3 books this week. So that was awesome, very productive for me. I was reading Tales of the South Pacific, and I got that all finished up. And all 3 of these books, or excuse me, 2 of these 3 I did book reviews for that are going to come out Saturday and Sunday. So be looking forward to those. I'll put links to those videos. And then yesterday, or no, 2 days ago, excuse me, 2 days ago on Wednesday, I also had my book review. Maybe it was Tuesday. I don't know. Earlier in the week, I had my book review for my John Grisham books that I'd been meaning to do that I just kind of put off. So, it was very productive in video making. So one of the books that I finished was James Michener's Tales of the South Pacific. This was a really good book. It's a lot of short stories that are all kind of connected by a thread through the whole book. Each chapter is its own story, and all of these people are connected in one way or another throughout the whole story. But it's all World War II men and women who were stuck out in the Pacific during that war, during the island hopping process, and so so it talks about several islands along the way. It mentions famous islands like at the Battle at Guadalcanal. But it also has several make-believe islands, fictional islands that Michener came up with. But they're all realistic stories of stuff that was going on in the South Pacific. And it was a very interesting book. I tried DNFing it earlier, or last year, but something in me was like, you can't DNF it. You can't DNF Michener. And so I went back to it, and I'm really glad I did. This was a very good book. I'd highly recommend that. So that was one of my reads. Another read that I finished up, this one I finished up over the weekend, was a murder mystery. It was Murder at a Vineyard Mansion, Martha's Vineyard Mystery by Philip R. Craig. And this one will have a book chat coming up this weekend. So like I said, Saturday and Sunday I'll have these book chats up. This was a really good mystery. He does a good job. Craig does a good job of throughout the story. He tells a good story, but he sets that story up by dropping hints here and there that you're not going to really put together till the end of the book, and then you're like, oh, that's when that was happening. And I don't know. It was kind of neat. As I said earlier in the week, I don't read a lot of mysteries, and so I'm kind of dipping into this for the first time as an adult. Now, I read them when I was a kid, like Boxcar Children. They were a bunch of mysteries, the Hardy Boys mysteries. I read those, but I haven't really read them as an adult, and so I'm coming back to them as an adult, and I'm thoroughly enjoying them. I got 3 of the 4 that my local library had, and there's actually a whole bunch more in the series, so I'm going to have to figure out how to find those. Maybe I can request them from the library, or request them through Interlibrary or something. But thoroughly enjoying these. This was a good one. Murder at the Vineyard Mansion all takes place, it starts out with the building of this mansion on Martha's Vineyard, and then it turns into a story of the chaos of the rich, of rich people that live there. Very interesting take on the lives of rich people. So highly recommend it. And this was just to give you a taste of what the writing was like. I really liked this line, and I think I forgot to mention it in my review. I had it all wrote out, and then I forgot to do it. So I'm gonna read this to you. I want to share this with you. It comes from chapter 6 on page 62 of this book, and it was just a line that I love the sound of it. I don't know why, but he says, the main character J.W. Jackson says, I was sailing on a sea of ignorance in a boat that was full of holes. I didn't know where I was going, and I had no real business leaving shore. And so I don't know why that stuck with me. I was reading that and I was like, man, that's a good two-liner there. So I copied it down, and I'll save that for later. I'm not sure what I'm going to use it for, but I really like the line. So anyway, that was the second book I finished. And then the third book that I finished earlier this week, when did I finish this? It was around Monday or Tuesday. I can't remember. But it's a book, buddy read that I'm doing with Peg over at the History Shelf. And we're reading The Zealot and the Emancipator. John Brown, Abraham Lincoln, and the Struggle for American Freedom by H.W. Brands. And she talked about this in her video. I think she did like a Monday Reads or something like that, wrap up. But we're reading this. I got this finished. When she was doing the video, I had just finished it when she had uploaded that video. So I think she was pretty close to being done. We've done a real good job of staying with each other, in the book. We didn't get real far apart in it. And anyway, I've enjoyed this. I got to admit that I did not learn much new on Lincoln, just because I've read so much on Lincoln. I don't know that there was really anything new. He didn't bring any new speeches or anything. I mean, it's all been that's well-tread ground. But I did learn some stuff about John Brown, and I did not know some of this stuff on John Brown. I just never read a biography on him, and they were very, very interesting things that he pointed out. I agree with Peg. I'd like to see him expand on this. Obviously, he covered more of Lincoln than Brown because, Lincoln's got so much more stuff out there, and then he just lived longer. So that was a large part of that. But John Brown was an interesting character. I didn't realize exactly how well traveled he was when he was doing all of his stuff with the abolitionists. Another thing that I got out of this was Frederick Douglass. Brands points out how Frederick Douglass is connected to all the characters, and that was really interesting, and it really makes me look forward to my buddy read for next month, and I'll show you that in just a second. Pretty excited about it. But I know Peg and I are going to do a Zoom chat on this, and I imagine she's probably going to put that up online. So be looking forward to that. I'm looking forward to it. The history Zoom chat on this book that we did in our buddy read. So be looking forward to that. So now, big question is, what am I reading right now? So the one that I was just reading yesterday morning and this morning, I read a couple chapters each morning, is another Martha's Vineyard mystery. This one is Dead in Vineyard Sand, again by Philip Craig. And so this is one of those three that I picked up at the library last was it Saturday? I think last Saturday when I went. But this is really good so far. I really like it. It's got the main character, the not detective. He's a retired policeman, J.W. Jackson, and tells the story of his life and life on the vineyard. And he's always running into a murder. I've never seen somebody with such bad luck that they're always in the same place as a murder all the time. But I guess you wouldn't have a story if that didn't happen. So anyway, this one, obviously, as you could tell on the cover, this murder's going to take place in a golf course, or at least they find the body in the golf course. And that's where what I just read this morning, they just found the body. And so looking forward to that. It's so far at the beginning of the book, he is doing battle with some environmentalists, and it's the SUV drivers versus the bicyclists. That's kind of the theme of the book. And the person they found in the sand trap is the leading bicyclist. And of course, JW drives an SUV, so it's going to be. And they had kind of a little argument in the beginning of the book. So we'll see how that all plays out. We'll see if JW is actually pointed at as a murder suspect. I don't know that if he will or not. And so I'm going to try to read that this weekend. I think I can get that done. If I have a good Saturday, Sunday reading time, I'm going to get that done. And then, of course, next week what I'll pick up is the other Martha's Vineyard book, Vineyard Chill, by Philip Craig. So, and I have not read anything on this one. Just read you the cover here for next week's mystery. For year-round Vineyard residents, J.W. Jackson and his wife Z, winters bring its own beauty. With uncrowded streets, pristine, snowy landscapes, and long, cozy nights by the fire. It can also bring danger. There's a chill in the air one January day when J.W. receives a surprising visit from a long-ago pal, Clay Stockton. Thrice divorced and still living on the edge, Clay has come to J.W. not to relive the reckless days of their youth, but to ask J.W. for help. He's in big trouble and needs to lie low on the vineyard. And it isn't just Clay who needs J.W.'s assistance. J.W.'s pal, Bonzo, has made a frightening discovery that may lead to the whereabouts of Nadine Gibson, a young woman who went missing on the vineyard almost a year ago. Bonzo once took Nadine birdwatching, and the circumstances connecting Nadine's disappearance to Bonzo are enough to make him a person of interest to the police. With two friends in trouble and his own family receiving threats, J.W. must summon all of his investigative skills to try to restore order to his beloved island home, where fishing and good food should always take precedence over murder. Featuring Craig's trademark mix of wit, suspense, and vineyard ambiance, Vineyard Chill is a marvelous tribute to a much-loved author whose passion for mystery and Martha's Vineyard enriches each page. So yeah, anyway, there's the author. You can get kind of a look at him. But that's a good read so far. I'm also still working on American Caesar, Douglas MacArthur. Nothing new there. Interesting stuff. They're about ready to head into World War II. I just read through the in-between years, and he's been in the Philippines with his work there. So I gave you one fiction book for next week, and then, of course, my February buddy read, and I'm so pumped about this, it's not even funny. It's Pulitzer Prize winner David Blight's book, Frederick Douglass, Prophet of Freedom. And I have been looking forward to reading this book ever since it came out. I'm fascinated by Douglass. Of course, earlier last year, I did a book chat on the narrative of the life of Douglass, and so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But I absolutely loved his first autobiography. It was published in, I think it was 1845 is when it was published. And he's got two other autobiographies where they get bigger and bigger, and they've built on it. I have not had a chance to read those yet. I am going to in the future, but this biography, I'm looking forward to seeing what Blight will say about him, because Blight's an excellent author. And to be honest, I say excellent author. I have listened to him speak on several occasions on YouTube videos and iTunes University. I've never actually read his work. I loved listening to him and his storytelling, but I've never actually read. So I guess I can't say he's an excellent author. He's a good speaker. But anyway, I look forward to this buddy read. There's going to be I think a handful of people doing this one. I got hooked into it with Peg. I asked her if I could join their buddy read she already had going, and she said sure, and she said there's several others doing it, so I'm pretty excited about that. So I look forward to getting that started. So anyway, BookTube, I guess the last thing I wanted to say was that last Q&A I did ended up as several choppy videos because my phone kept quitting. So I really apologize about that. I think I put it in the comment or the description, but I really apologize about that. I didn't mean for that to happen. My phone kept saying it was full, and I don't understand why, because it wasn't full. Who knows? Technology. But anyway, look forward to getting these books read. Thank you for watching and listening to me ramble. So until next time, BookTube, happy reading.